Hi, I'm Harry Forbes from ARC Advisory Group. I'm here with Tripp Partain. Tripp is CTO for Edge and IoT with Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. Tripp, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Tripp, can you give us some background on HPE and your place in the manufacturing sector?
Sure. So HPE has been around a long time in the IT business. We're one of the original founders of Silicon Valley, and definitely proud for that. But really now, as things have transformed from a technology standpoint, we've really moved to an edge to cloud platform as a service company. And where that really applies is we've been working for a number of years with industrial companies on more of their traditional IT, the things that would be more back office data center type applications. But we've seen the need to take some of these technology advancements that we've been working on over the years and put them in form factors that allows us to move them much closer to the actual manufacturing and industrial processes to really help drive some of the next generation efficiencies. And that's really where our focus has been and really what we're looking to bring to industries and manufacturing.
Okay, well, Tripp, a lot of times you hear people say, oh, IoT, industrial IoT, edge computing, that's really nothing new. We've been connected for 20, 30 years. We're doing the same thing. How do you respond to that? What's different?
Well, I'd say it's definitely a true statement. And a lot of people probably don't realize there has been a lot of technology that has been infused into industrial and operations and manufacturing processes over the years. I think the difference is most of that has been very purpose-built. So if I'm in a manufacturing process, maybe I'm manufacturing a car and I need to take a piece of steel and I need to bend it into a certain form, I have a piece of equipment that has technology infused in it to do just that job. But that job doesn't understand if 3 steps before in the line, a different set of technology running a different job is having a problem. And so there's been a lot of technology that does very specific things, but being able to actually tie all of that together, start to look at that information in a holistic manner and make decisions based on trade-offs between one area or another and how that affects the entire manufacturing process from a technology standpoint is new. What's been doing that in the past has been people. A person who's been in and around that job typically grew up through that organization. 20, 30 years later, they have the experience to look across all of these different pieces of siloed technology, looking at all the dials and digits and know, oh, when this happens and this happens, I need to make these adjustments. But we're hearing from our customers that the folks with that level of experience are starting to retire, and the next generation doesn't seem to have the same likelihood of going through the ranks and getting that level of experience. So we're looking to try to leverage technology to help fill what looks to be potentially a skills gap that's growing.
Okay, you're talking about specific plants, and what do you see common across all your industrial customers? Are there some commonalities that you see in this space across manufacturing?
Yeah, I would say that the 2 things that we've heard the most has been worry about talent. And trying to figure out ways to address that. And one of the key areas that companies are looking at is to put in a level of technology that allows that connective tissue to go in and take the role of what these experienced individuals used to do. So we definitely see that, and this is across all different industries, and not even just manufacturing and industrial. We're hearing this in other areas outside of that as well. And so because of that, we're definitely trying to take our years of data center IT technology experience and create form factors that allow us to move those advancements into some of these areas where technology normally didn't go at that level, and try to look at how you would be able to address that particular part of the problem.
Another question that people have a lot of times with these newer projects is they're stuck in what people call pilot project hell or something like that. What are your recommendations for people to take a project and scale it up, an initiative to grow and to scale effectively?
Now, and one of the reasons why we've seen that happen is if you just look at a POC to solve just a specific problem, and this is, again, something that we've seen for years and years just in traditional IT. If you aren't thinking enterprise, and again, enterprise doesn't mean you do the same thing everywhere. Enterprise means you're thinking about this, if this is successful, what does scale look like? And then you at least take that into account when you plan the POC. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to put components together, start a POC, and then actually there's no way to replicate what you just did. And that's something that we saw a lot in the IT world, and we have a lot of techniques and advisory capabilities that we've done to help improve that over time. And now we want to be able to apply that same thing here. And there's a large tool manufacturer that I'm working with where we had that same scenario. But the way the plan was put together, even though we started with one use case in one plant, the baseline was set up so that the platform that was selected could be replicated to every plant, whether it was the same use case, whether it was one of 19 other use cases, whether you mix different actual platforms or software solutions that were actually going to be run to solve the problem. You established a baseline that was repeatable, so that skill set could be leveraged across the board. And we see that allows a POC to actually, that would move into production and then actually repeat it at other sites.
Okay, that's interesting. You're talking about a tool maker there. Can you give us another example of kind of customer that you've helped with this?
Yeah, so there's another manufacturing customer, and these guys, they outsource a lot of factories across a number of industries. Anything from servers to mobile phones and other areas. And one of the areas we were diving into was specific to QA. And so we work with them to actually develop a video analytic-based QA process. And so what happens is you have some equipment coming down the line, you've got a couple of robot arms with cameras that go around and do the scanning, and then feed that data into an analytic engine to be able to make sure, one, all the right pieces are in the right places, and then also make sure that all the wiring is actually connected correctly. Right? So a couple of different checks, and that replaced what used to be a manual process. So a couple of interesting things happened when we did that. The first is we started to do that in a connected cloud-based scenario. We found that it was taking about 20 seconds for that process to complete. So we changed that and used edge-based solutions where we actually have the what normally is data center or cloud technology running right in the factory, right on the assembly line. And we're able to cut that process down to less than a second. But then the actual QA process itself, on a per item basis, we took 93 seconds out compared to the manual process, with a quality improvement of 25%. So you get 25% better output in the quality of products going to customers. And then on a per product basis, 93 seconds comes out. 93 seconds may not seem like a lot, but that particular facility does 45,000 products a month. So that's 120 1,200 minutes a month of savings that can be, pretty significant.
Okay, when companies are starting this journey, what advice would you give them if they're starting out?
Well, you definitely have to start small, but again, you need to be. It kind of goes back to your POC question. Because if you try to boil the ocean and solve a 20 factory problem day one, you're going to get mired into a combination of the differences in the factory, the different kind of inputs you're going to have to deal with, and quite honestly, the politics of trying to organize around 20 different facilities at one time. So I think you definitely need to pick a problem that's significant, a problem where you can measure a result. So it may not be a positive result, but at least you can measure results. So if you are successful, you can prove out what success is, but then make sure that the baseline that you use to put that together is something that at least you've thought through from a repeatability standpoint. So that, again, you don't kind of box yourself into one proof of concept that never actually goes anywhere.
Okay. Tripp, thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Great. Thank you.
My guest has been Tripp Partain, CTO of Edge and IoT for Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. Thanks for watching.